Welcome to a recent interview that I had with a truly exceptional woman. Not only is she a veteran, but she has the sheer drive to try to help as many people as possible through her shared experiences in dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. She also has amazing advice on the application of using cannabis. I hope you enjoy. I can't think of any other demographic group, honestly, that deserves more respect and the benefit of the doubt with regard to their ailments and needs. I've never met a veteran that's taking advantage of some system in a way that they don't somehow deserve.
Yeah. I deal with veterans day in and day out with what I do, and hearing their stories and the discard on top of my own is it's very sad. It's undescribably sad.
Sure. Yeah, I hope that we're changing in a better direction. There's, a different leader at the helm these days, so we'll see how that works out.
One can only hope.
Sure. Well, I don't know if you have thought about a better system that exists within the VA. I know that they're offering some classes. I guess they're cognitive-based therapy group sessions for PTSD.
I'm in so when you go in for MST, there's two choices that you have. And I know there's more options outside of the VA, but you can either do exposure therapy or you can do cognitive therapy. Exposure therapy is essentially reliving the situation every time you go in. Cognitive therapy is you're dealing with your stuck points and what's holding you back, and really breaking down the thought process and emotional process that you're going through as an individual due to the situation. Now, you do go through the situation and you do have to, I think it was week 2, week 3, and week 4, where you continuously write more and more about the situation and write more in depth. Week 2 is more of like a general, and then you read what you wrote, and then week 3 you go more in depth and you read what you wrote. And then they really want you to try, because with PTSD or CPTSD, there are aspects of situations or traumas that you don't quite remember. Like, you remember the beginning and the end, but you don't quite remember the situation in the middle. So that's the route I took, because I didn't want to have to relive it every single day. Although I feel the last 2 sessions I've had complete breakdowns because I only have 2 sessions left. And I feel like if this were an iceberg, we've just lifted, or if this were a mug, we've literally just opened Pandora's box. And I feel open and exposed and no sense of hope.
I have often thought that cannabis can enhance therapeutic outcomes, because maybe in part with regard to this ability to focus, or perhaps feel a sense of enlightenment, or kind of being able to pervade this kind of barrier in our thoughts that we generally go around living with when we're not under the influence of cannabis. It allows us to think a little bit differently and maybe tap into aspects of our percepts that are just not readily available to us as easily. Do you think that cannabis can be used with some of the therapies? I know that they oftentimes will exclude participants if they're under the influence of cannabis or using cannabis. I don't know what the justification is. I guess they're just trying to hone in on the therapies, which unfortunately I wish they were more effective over the past 100 years, but it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Or can cannabis be used as a form of therapy in itself, or in conjunction with other types of practices? I know you mentioned working out a lot and aspects.
I haven't had cannabis I guess kind of, because I was in therapy before I came out here, but I wasn't in treatment. But I think because you're so intently focused when you are using cannabis, that it will allow you to focus on the situation at hand, and as opposed to being so random-minded and jumping around. I catch, even in treatment, I catch myself jumping around quite a bit. I'll talk about one topic, then another topic, then another topic, in regards to situational. So we'll talk about the rape that occurred, then I'll jump to my kids, then I'll jump to my friends, then I'll go back to the rape, and then we'll go how that situation affects my being today, how I parent, how I let people in or don't let people in, and what I choose to be completely open about and what I choose to put a wall up about, and my behavioral mannerisms. So I think most definitely it should be considered as a combination for cannabis and treatment, and cannabis and working out, most definitely. There's so much focus, and especially when you don't feel like working out, there are a couple sativas that will give you that energy and focus at the same time, and you just go.
Yeah.
And for me,
it makes it fun.
It makes it fun, and especially with the rape music, of course. But for me, working out became such an addiction, and I had some friends that were concerned, but when a couple weeks ago I had talked to the doctor, I was like, look, I need something where I'm just sore, or I'm going to start cutting again, because that rage inside of me is just so overwhelming at times. If I don't have anywhere to release it, then you automatically go to what you feel and what you know. And so even with writing and communicating, you have the space of being open, but there's not that space of reaching out. And I think that's one of the things I've grown most with, is at least reaching out to one or two people when I'm feeling on an absolute low, but not. There's certain people that you trust, and there's certain people where you're like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. And I think that's how a lot of veterans feel, and a lot of individuals who suffer from PTSD feel, or mental illness in general. You don't want to be a burden. And a lot of people respond with, oh, you'll be fine, or you'll get through it. And my immediate thought process is, what if I don't? Mm-hmm. And what if I'm gone? And that was your last response to me. Okay. So I think people in general need to be more educated on mental illness, which is why I'm really doing my best to get out there and speak on it. But in regards to cannabis and therapy, and cannabis and working out, and there's so many positive aspects of it, just calming and soothing, and it's not like having a drink and being at work where you're shaking, or you have alcohol breath, or you're not able to focus or function. There are so many positive aspects where if the employee is high anxiety and they can just pop an edible and just be calm, the focus and intent and so much more productivity would be done, because so many people, 1 in 4, suffer from mental illness.
Sure.
Goodness gracious, yes.
Thank you for watching this part of our interview. As always, we hope that it truly helps as many people as possible. If you do appreciate the content that we're providing you nearly every single day, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, or becoming a patron or even a donor to the University of New Mexico's Medical Cannabis Research Fund, where we are fighting for you every single day to provide you the type of information that you could use to make sound medical decisions for yourself and for your family. We're also fighting for you as advocates to be able to give you a loud, confident voice in knowing that you do have full control over your health decisions, and you have the right to be able to make those decisions as you see fit. Together, through our loud, collective, and confident voices, we are changing the world.